Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today, with it being the end of the transfer window, planning to do maybe 2 or even 3 videos just to try and keep us and everybody up to date with all the ins and outs at Celtic. Couple of major deals that have been agreed by Celtic with 2 selling clubs, just waiting for medicals and all the contracts and paperwork to be signed. Some other stories of potential players coming in, potential couple players leaving the club, and this video also will include a 4-minute or so highlights reel of our new centre-back, if all the paperwork goes through, Austin Trusty, American international, previously playing for Sheffield United, and also previously a player at Arsenal and in Major League Soccer. Just before we crack on with the update video, please, if you are new to the channel, please do click that subscribe button. Keep the numbers pushing further and further past 900 towards my goal of 1,000. If you like the video, please do click that like button, and comment section open for pleasant, polite, constructive debating points, opinions, discussion points regarding this video and our potential transfers and loans, ins and outs, and any other Celtic issues as we get so near to the big Rangers match on Sunday. So, late yesterday evening, it was announced that Celtic have signed Arne Engels, the young Belgian versatile midfielder, a deal of €13 million, which is £10.94 million, obviously breaking Celtic's transfer record. There is also a 20% sell-on clause as part of that deal. Engels, it's known that he has already agreed personal terms with Celtic and apparently has been booked in for a medical today, Friday morning. And so, assuming that all goes well, he should be a Celtic player by the afternoon or early evening and available to be on the bench, I would have thought, for the Rangers game on Sunday. The other big news was late on Thursday evening. It was agreed between Celtic and Sheffield United a £6 million transfer fee for the American international Austin Trusty. It is believed that Trusty has already had his medical on Thursday evening and has agreed personal terms on a 5-year deal at Celtic. However, what Celtic will need to do, with Trusty being an American, is he will need a visa and work permit to work in Scotland. Celtic apparently have that all ready to go into the relevant offices first thing on Friday morning, and are hoping that can be fast-tracked through so that Trusty can be confirmed as a Celtic player later in the day, given the fact that he has been playing in England for the last couple of years. There should be no real hold-ups with regards to his visa or work permits to play in Scotland as opposed to playing in England. However, paperwork can be a bit frustrating and official offices can be quite frustrating, so hopefully all that does go through. Just going to pop in now that 4 minutes or so highlight reel of Trusty, taken as extracts from one of the other YouTube creators, and there actually are several very good videos that highlight Trusty's good points and a few of his less good points, of which there are very few actually. So have a wee look at the video and then we'll crack on the last few pieces of news breaking yesterday evening, on Thursday evening and Friday morning. Having looked at all the scouting reels and highlight reels for Engels and Trusty, he does appear a very good defender, good defensive instincts, very good at blocking the ball, intercepting the ball, has a surprising amount of pace for a man of 6'3". Also is very quick thinking, good anticipation skills, very good in the air, which I think, of course, is going to be really important for Celtic. Seems a big, strong player, very good in the challenge, very good in beating off opponents. There was some concerns that he may not be the best player for balls over the top in behind him, but that doesn't really appear to be the case from further scouting videos that I've watched and read on the internet. And I think, assuming that all the official paperwork can go through, I think we have got a super defender, 26 years old, so of a similar age to Cameron Carter-Vickers, also in a 5-year contract, similar to Cameron Carter-Vickers, and we could well have our central defensive team for several seasons, all signed, sealed, and delivered by late this evening. Fingers crossed, anyway. Other news stories of potential midfielders coming into Celtic. After the Arnie Engels deal was confirmed yesterday evening, then there were several stories saying that Celtic had pulled out of the deal for Alvin Sanches of Lausanne. Then a couple more stories appeared that Celtic and Lausanne were looking at a potential loan deal with a 3.5 to 4 million price tag as an obligation at the end of that. There also have been some stories that Celtic are carrying on with their 4 million, 3.5 to 4 million pound straight purchase bid for Sanches, and also stories saying that he had his medical, that contract was under negotiation, and that he was expected at Celtic on Friday. However, just as many stories are saying that Celtic have, for the meantime, stopped any pursuit of Alvin Sanches, and there are several stories saying this is a player that Celtic may go back to in the winter transfer window, or may go back to Mateusz Bogusz of LAFC in the winter transfer window, and so hopefully over the course of today it will become fully apparent what is the situation regarding Alvin Sanches. Also, yesterday, late in the evening and this morning, multiple stories saying that Celtic had made a bid to loan the very talented Lyon player Mamadou Diawara, a 19-year-old central midfielder, a player with tremendous potential. Celtic had apparently offered Lyon a season-long loan with an €8 million transfer fee, €8 million transfer fee at the end of that. Not surprisingly, Lyon said no. This was a story that broke a few days ago, briefly, where it was thought that Lyon would be amenable to loaning out Diawara. However, it's very clear they've got him on a 4-year contract. They see him as one of their future superstars, and it doesn't look like any possibility of Diawara coming to Celtic, either as a loan or as a transfer or a combination of both, does appear to be pie in the sky. Does appear there is ongoing interest in Celtic signing Luke McCowan, the Dundee captain, Dundee midfielder, who had a very good season last year for Dundee, was one of the main factors in them having such a successful finish in the top six. Celtic are thought to be still having on the back burner a 1 million transfer deal to bring McCowan to Celtic. I think McCowan would do well at Celtic, certainly in the domestic games, would be a useful backup player for the European games, and of course would help Celtic fulfil the combination 8 players of homegrown and Scottish trained that you require for UEFA competitions. So would not be the least bit surprised if the Luke McCowan transfer gets announced late today. Couple of mentions of players potentially leaving on loan. given the fact that Celtic have signed Arne Engels and would appear to be looking for one more midfielder. There are stories that our versatile Japanese player Tomoki Iwata might be going to Birmingham, possibly as a season-long loan, possibly as a permanent transfer. I personally would be sad to see Tomoki leave the club. I think he's a very versatile player, can fill in at right back, centre back, can play conventional defensive midfielder, can play conventional central midfield. I thought when he was fit and playing last season, I thought he stepped into the team well to replace McGregor and Hatate at times. I think also his versatility on the bench, very useful in that it covers several positions very well. And so I would be actually quite sad to see Tomoki Iwata go. However, it's possible that he is a bit frustrated at his lack of game time and that he seems to be on the bench on a very regular basis but doesn't get any substitute minutes. So we'll see how that develops over the day. One other player that it is said that Rodgers is happy now to leave the club on a loan rather than the transfer is Mike Nawrocki, our Polish centre-back. I would be personally quite surprised if Nawrocki is allowed to leave the club, even if we do sign Austin Trusty as is fully expected today. That would leave us with Cameron Carter-Vickers and Austin Trusty as our obvious 1 and 2, then Liam Scales as number 3, and then a combination of Nawrocki and Stephen Welsh as our 4th and 5th. I think for a successful season, you do need 5 good centre-backs. Stephen Welsh obviously does fulfil that Scottish quota, homegrown quota, which is going to be useful for Champions League. But given the fact that Stephen Welsh is extremely injury prone, that Carter Vickers had so many injury problems last season, I do think letting Nawrocki go is a mistake, especially now that we don't have Lagerbielke or Kobayashi. And I do hope that any thoughts that Rodgers has in getting rid of Nawrocki permanently or just for the season, hopefully he changes his mind. And I do actually feel, having had a look at multiple sites, this seems to be only being put forward by a couple of people. I think it's more speculation rather than anybody reading Brendan Rodgers' mind as to what he needs or doesn't need for his squad. Still waiting for full confirmation of Mikey Johnson's move to West Brom, although I expect that's going to go through nice and quickly on Friday morning, as there is a $3 million fee agreed between Celtic and West Brom. His personal terms are agreed, and he's had a medical, so I think it's just a question of all the paperwork being signed, and then that should all move forward for Mikey Johnson. So that just about finishes things off for today. As I said, do plan to do another video probably in the early evening, mid-evening, just to update on hopefully all the successful paperwork, etc. for Engels and Trusty, and to update on any other players coming in or leaving in these last 12 hours or so of the transfer window. And as I say, all these stories were accurate up till 11:30 on Friday morning. But given the way things are on transfer deadline day, things could easily change by the time this video is up and going on YouTube, in which case I will update in the evening or do a wee picture text update on the channel. So just a wee reminder, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please do click that subscribe button. Do click that like button if you like the video, and comment section open for pleasant, polite debating points, thoughts on these players, topics of the video, etc. And so until later today, goodbye and hail, hail.